Hey, it's Joni and welcome to my channel, The Free Life. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. And if you are new here, thank you so much for being here. So today I want to talk about the fourth tip in my 5-part series for biblical self-care. If you missed the first 3 videos, I will link them in the description box below. And I encourage you to go back and watch those. In this video, I want to talk about guarding your heart. Okay, so Proverbs 4:23 says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life." Other translations, this is ESV, other translations say, "For from it flow the issues of life." And basically what that means is whatever is in our heart is going to come out in our actions, our words. It's going to go from our heart to our thoughts and out again to our actions and how we see the world even, and how we view other people, and really basically how much we are conforming to Christ's image, which is one of the goals of being a believer. We want to be as much like Christ while we're here on earth as we can. So sometimes self-care is actually getting rid of those things in our lives that are causing our heart to be worn down or bitter. So guarding your heart really isn't something that most people think of when they think of self-care, but if you really think about it, that's probably one of the first places we should start when it comes to self-care, because all the other issues of life flow from our heart, right? So what does that look like practically in regard to guarding your heart? Well, who and what are the main influences in your life? Who are the people that you hang around the most? Who are the people that you're closest to? Obviously your friends, they play a huge role. And sometimes there are people who we are in contact with regularly and we have no control over that, like our coworkers, the people we live with, our family, maybe it's a roommate, whatever the situation may be. And, negativity from another person can easily rub off on us, just like positivity can. So sometimes there are people that you just cannot control who you're around, but there are people that you can, and most of the time that is your friends who you're hanging out with, and sometimes even family members. You can distance yourself from negative or mean or hateful or judgmental family members who maybe they gossip or they drink or they do things that you as a believer should not be doing. And when you are with them, you easily find yourself falling into that and doing the same thing. It doesn't mean you don't love them, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person. It just means for your own well-being, you need to distance yourself from them and only go around them when you need to. Have a relationship from a distance, talk, text, whatever. Friends, it can be harder to distance yourself and to end those relationships that need to be ended. I've shared this before, and I'm going to share it again really quick, but there was a time in my life where I had friends that, it's my responsibility. I was letting them influence me more than I should have, and more than I even realized. It's kind of like a slippery slope. And after a few years, God was like, look, I cannot make you the woman that I want you to be with these people in your life. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do, God? I'm not just gonna like never respond to their calls or texts again. Like back then, the term ghosting didn't exist. But basically, I was like, I'm not gonna ghost them. And so a few months went by, and he said the same thing to me, and I said the same thing to him. And then another few months went by, and I said, okay, look, if you don't want these people in my life, you take care of it. I'm just going to put it in your hands. Not long after, he took care of it. It was not a pretty end to those relationships. I feel like God took his hand off, moved his hand away, and allowed the enemy to sow discord and really just fed these people some lies. And that is how those friendships, those relationships ended. It hurt, and it hurt for a really long time, I'm not gonna lie. But in the moment when everything was ending and those friendships were crashing down and I was reading these texts that were not nice, there was a second of clarity where I was like, okay, this is God taking care of it like I asked him to. And I had peace about that part of it. It gave me peace that the friendships were ending, even though it hurt for a long time. So I say that and share that to say, you know what? If there are friends or people in your life and you don't know how to end those relationships, like, ask God. Ask God. I probably could have been like, God, show me how to do it, but I don't know. I probably could have been like, hey, what should I do? Instead of like, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let you handle it. I probably would have had a less painful divorce from those friends if I had done it that way. Okay, other things that are influencing your heart that you don't even realize most of the time. What are you listening to? What kind of music are you listening to? What kind of podcasts are you listening to? Who are the main voices in your life? And that also includes people as well. Friends, family, acquaintances, all that. Who are you listening to, and who are you letting into your mind? And then into your heart. Okay, and then obviously the next thing would be, what are you watching? What are you looking at? What kind of shows are you watching? What kind of movies are you watching? What are you reading? What are you looking at on the internet? What are you searching for? Like, what are you watching on YouTube? What are you letting in through your eyes? What you let in through your eyes is so powerful. What you look at, because what we listen to, what we see, that is what we're going to kind of gravitate towards. And if it's something that is not pulling you towards the Lord or something positive, then it's going to slowly push you away from God. It's going to slowly push you away from your faith. And I know you're probably listening like, oh, that's stupid, that's crazy. It's true. Trust me. If you can think of something right now or in the next week that you're like, you know what, that kind of music, I probably shouldn't listen to that. It has some pretty gnarly lyrics, has some pretty raunchy lyrics. There's a lot of cussing. There's a lot of, just violent lyrics, whatever it might be. I challenge you to stop listening to that for a week and see the difference, because I guarantee you will see a difference. And what are you scrolling? Like, what are you scrolling through? What are you looking at when you're scrolling through social media? Sometimes it can seem like really harmless stuff, like, you know, I like to watch, there's an influencer my age who gives, she gives fashion advice and puts outfits together, and I love watching that kind of stuff. But I can only watch it for so long, because then I start like, oh, I wish I had that, or, you know, I wish I had her hair, or whatever it might be. And there have been all kinds of studies done that prove that social media creates depression because people get jealous. They feel bad about their own lives when they see other people living better lives than them, or having the things that they want, or looking like they're successful. I mean, the reality is a lot of it is fake. A lot of it is fake. So I'm going to put a link in the description for an article that I recently read from the Newport Institute, and it is about zombie scrolling. You've probably heard of doom scrolling, but zombie scrolling is different, and I'm going to put a, like I said, I encourage you to read the article that I'm linking in the description. So this week, I want to encourage you to do an assessment. Take an assessment and think about what you're watching, what you're listening to, who you're hanging out with, who you're listening to, who are the negative influences in your life that you need to distance yourself from. And anyways, I know this video is a little bit longer than usual, but thank you so much for sticking with me until the end. I really hope that you've gotten something positive out of it. I hope that it has encouraged you in some way. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the little bell so you won't miss a notification when the last part of this video comes out, or any of my other videos for that matter. As always, be blessed and live free.